All right, as you can tell, I'm using a new microphone. I've officially joined the Shure SM7B gang, for better or worse. So let's hope this works out, because if the audio is jacked, I'm still gonna have to upload this video because I'm not gonna re-record it. I'm gonna be real with you, I'm just not. But with every new microphone I get, there's always some growing pains. So yeah, let's see how this goes. YouTube, Rumble, Twitter. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, you guys, this video is going to obviously apply to the United States people more so than anywhere else, mainly because this has to do with freedom of speech, and I am aware that most countries do not have a true freedom of speech, where here in the United States, we have it in our Constitution. It's literally the first one, the first amendment we have, and that would be freedom of speech. In this video, you guys, I'm not going to go over the entirety of the meaning of freedom of speech. I'm not going to break down the constitutional interpretation of the freedom of speech thing. I'm not going to do that, okay? That's just not me. I'm not a constitutionalist. I've said this before. But more or less, our freedom of speech allows you to say pretty much anything. Now, when I say pretty much anything, you can't incite violence, you can't make direct threats, you can't do those kinds of things, which makes total sense. But what you can do is run around screaming racial slurs. You can call people whatever name you want to call them. But of course, there are societal repercussions from that, but it's not criminal. You can't go to jail for being a white dude running up and down the streets screaming the N-word. That's not going to happen, but you're definitely going to maybe screw up your prospects of your future, though. But most importantly, you're not going to jail. You're not paying a fine. You're just going to have to deal with societal issues, which is, you know what? If that's what you want to do, then by all means. By having true freedom of speech allows us to have proper debates and allows us to have meaningful conversations that you just can't do in a lot of other countries, which I believe is the reason why we have a lot of progressive things that actually move forward, because we're actually able to have the conversations that a lot of other places just simply can't have. And by having those conversations that might not be allowed in a lot of other places, we're able to push some progressive things forward that are arguably good things. And I'm definitely not a modern progressive by any stretch of the imagination, but you got to think things like women's rights over time getting progressively better and better has to do with freedom of speech, being allowed to bring up the topic and properly debate it. I do see it on Twitter a lot that you have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom of consequence. And that's true, but that's not consequence of law. That's consequence of societal scrutiny, which is totally fair. That's completely fair. But I promise you, without freedom of speech, we would be miles behind where we are today. And is it perfect right now? No. But we're making moves. But ultimately, does freedom of speech allow people to be kind of shitty? Yeah, it does. And honestly, that's great, because we can all look at the person saying something stupid, collectively go, yeah, that's stupid to say, and then we just move on with our lives and we can recognize who the stupid one is, or, you know, around us. So it's kind of nice that way. So ultimately, I'm seeing more wins than losses when it comes to freedom of speech. I don't know about you guys, but just for a second, imagine you misgender somebody, whether it be by accident or on purpose. Let's just assume it's on purpose. Let's just do that. Let's just say you woke up one day and you saw somebody who is trans and you just felt like being an asshole. But imagine that's a felony and has potential for some prison time and alongside some fees. Now, apparently Michigan decided that would be a great idea. Let's give it a shot. Michigan pronoun laws probably is unconstitutional. Sidebar really fast, probably unconstitutional. It is very unconstitutional. But you guys, let's jump into the story. A bill passed by Democratic-led Michigan State House last month, which would make it a felony for people to intimidate or threaten others by disrespecting their gender identity. For example, by deliberately misgendering them, has sparked a controversy over whether the proposed law violates the First Amendment. The measure, House Bill 4474, is included in the package of legislation that would replace Michigan's existing Ethnic Intimidation Act. It would expand the existing law to cover sex, sexual orientation, age, gender identity or expression, and physical or mental disability. Religion, ethnicity, and race were already included in the previous legislation and will be covered under the new law. The bill would make it a hate crime to cause someone to feel terrorized, frightened, or threatened with words, including by deliberately misgendering them. The bill was criticized by some on the political right due to the focus on the gender identity part of the bill, which is only a fraction of what the legislation would cover. Former judge and television personality Joe Brown called the law an abomination, saying on Twitter that it was so obscenely contrary to the American First Amendment law. And well, without beating around the bush, it 1000% is. One of the main issues when it comes to this bill and what's actually happening in the real world that I actually see quite a bit is that there are a lot of people who feel one way one day and then another thing the next day and then nothing the day after that. It just constantly is just changing day by day.
What are your pronouns?
Either she, her, or they, them.
What does they, them mean?
Pretty much it's when I'm feeling more of not gender confined, like pretty much no gender. I choose to go by they, them.
So you don't feel like a gender sometimes?
Pretty much. Like, I'm still questioning what my gender is. Like,
so how does that process work?
Pretty much just I'm playing around with different gender identities and different pronouns until I figure out exactly which one.
And so some days you feel like a what, and some days you feel like a what?
Some days I feel she, her. Other days, like today, I'm feeling more no gender.
Wow.
So how in the world are people supposed to keep up with it? How are people supposed to know that on Tuesday, Jan identifies as a female, and on Wednesday, Fred identifies as a fucking lizard? You guys, this is all just so absurd, but you guys let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And of course, don't forget to like or dislike the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.